Nobody's listening, right? Hi, Andy.
Hello.
Is anybody listening?
Yeah, this is from Alicia. 24 days. It took me 24 days to listen to every episode and get caught up.
Oh, boy.
Now I'm crying because I have to wait for new ones each week.
Aw.
Absolutely love listening to your banter and stories. Thank you,
Wow.
Alicia.
Man, I don't even know if I could handle that much of me in 24 days.
I don't know if I could handle that much of you either.
Oh, man. If you want more of us,
Love it.
go check us out on Patreon and get a monthly bonus episode. Patreon.com/nobody's listening right.
Ooh, while we're at it, there was someone also I see on the Spotify comments that said, can you be a little bit more specific on how to find you on TikTok? We are on TikTok at Nobody's Listening Right. Same handle that we're on Patreon, same handle that we're on Instagram. That's where you can find us. We also on Instagram have a little one of those Linktree links that if you click that, you can then take us to TikTok, YouTube, Patreon, everywhere you want to go.
Great.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to start putting our TikTok in the show notes as well, under wherever you get your podcasts.
Huh.
Just scroll down.
All right.
So, Andy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God damn it. I'm like, why did I put eye makeup on?
I know what you want to talk about, okay? And it's big.
It is.
But you're going to start crying, so I think we should push
huge.
it for a few minutes.
Okay.
Because I don't think you need to cry at the top of the show.
Why don't
we videotape the show now.
I know. Why don't you make fun of me for a little bit?
Perfect.
I know you have several things you want to make fun of me for.
I do.
One I don't even think you wrote down.
Okay. I have something very top of mind that just happened that I need to talk to you about.
Go ahead.
And then we'll make fun of you. And then we'll make you cry.
Okay.
And that's a nice episode, I think.
Okay.
Okay. We were just out to eat, the family. We were at a restaurant. And we've probably talked about this on the show before. I know this happens to people all the time. I just need to get your real opinion on it. Okay? I'm walking to the bathroom. A woman exits. It's a unisex bathrooms, single stalls. Exits. My turn to go into the bathroom. Okay? Mm-hmm. I walk in. I have to pee. There's pee all over the toilet seat. Okay? Now, I'm at such a crossroads. All right? So here's the deal. I immediately see the pee. I'm waiting for my lunch. I'm bummed. I put the toilet seat up because I'm going to pee. I will be honest, if I'm in like a men's public restroom where it's just destroyed, sometimes I won't even bother picking up the seat.
Yeah.
But I pick up the seat with my shoe, and while I'm doing my pee, I'm thinking, okay, Andy, what are you going to do here? Are you going to exit the bathroom having left the seat just in its up position? Then you run the risk of there being a woman outside and walking in and being like, annoyed, okay?
Yeah.
Or do you put the seat down and just leave the little pee that's on the seat? Or 3, do you put the seat down and clean the pee off the seat, right?
Yeah.
Now, I don't want to clean the pee off the seat right now.
I'm
about to eat.
I think you know what I'm going to say.
And I'm like, I hate germs so much. It just grosses me out. And I knew then what I was weighing on this too was, when you walk out, if there's someone there, that changes everything. If there's not going to be anyone there, my decisions have less weight. What would you have done? And then I'll tell you what I would have done.
I hope you know what I would do. I've gone full. I've like cleaned the things I have cleaned up in bathrooms. You would blow your mind. I always leave it the way I would want to find it.
So you're cleaning up that lady's piss?
100. Well, first of all, it's different for me.
100%?
Because I would be sitting on it. I mean, it's very different.
That's a very good point. That's a very good point.
Now, I do want to say another thing, though. Isn't there a urinal in this restroom?
Not in the one that I was in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, that would change
everything.
Well, Maybe not, because then what do I do? Because I still run the risk of when I exit
Well, you
that
probably wouldn't
person
even
thinking,
No, they wouldn't, because first of all, you probably wouldn't even notice it. Second of all, a man would only use a sit-down toilet in a room where there's a urinal to poop.
you are making a lot of assumptions about the monster that is man in public restrooms. You really are. I
Well,
can't
speaking
even.
of monsters, I'm like, who are these women who are? First of all, can I PSA?
Yeah.
I saw this on. Speaking of TikTok, like, I don't know what she was. She was official in some sort. She's like a germ scientist or something. Maybe she's like an infectious disease scientist or something.
Let's just call her a germ scientist.
She's a germ pro, and she was like, "Ladies, stop hovering over the toilet seat.
Yeah, just put your ass to
It's not
glass.
your ass though. It's like the backs of your thighs, first of all. Nothing is touching a surface there that would like go in your body unless you have like a huge gaping wound on your thigh or something. Second of all,
I like the idea that you just saying that could have saved someone.
well, listen, if you have we don't want infected cuts or anything, but second of all, the surfaces of toilet seats generally are like non-porous. It's typically a pretty easy to clean situation, and usually they do get cleaned somewhat regularly. Now, if you see a lot of pee or something on it, of course, wipe it away. You can use one of those covers if you want, but if you don't see anything there, it's pretty safe. And we all shower. Like, I'm not the same kind of germaphobe that you are, although you are definitely you're not an equal opportunity germaphobe.
Okay.
There's some things that you allow to become totally disgusting. I'll give just one example. The head to your, like, toothbrush, that is like a cesspool where it meets the Sonicare body. It's so gross. No,
whatever.
well,
Sometimes I clean it from time to time.
it's gross. But you think so highly of yourself as though you're this like, and you are generally, and you wash your hands so much that they crack and bleed and whatnot.
Do you think it's a matter of me thinking high of myself? That's why I'm a germ. You are so wrong. Like that weighs into it. Not at all. Like, not at all.
You kind of pride yourself.
You know, you are so you're misunderstanding
No,
me.
I know. You have a lot of germ things.
Yeah.
And actually, I think that's going to bring us to another thing we're about to talk about. But basically, what am I trying to say here? Oh, the PSA is, gals, we don't need to hover over the seat and get our piss all over it. Sit your thighs down, put your pee-pee in the potty, and be kind to, if you do get a dribble out there, wipe it up.
Okay, here's my question before I tell you what I did today.
Oh, I do have a follow-up question for you.
Okay.
Before I find out what you did.
Yeah.
If you leave and someone's standing there and you decided not to clean it up.
Oh,
now,
yeah.
I would certainly hope that you at least would put the seat down, because to have a woman have to put the seat down and then find out there's piss all over the seat is so mean.
But okay.
Okay.
If you come in and the seat's up,
Yeah.
and you put it down and there's piss on it and you saw me come out, why are you mad at me? Do you think that it's my piss? You don't think it's my piss, at least.
No, but I think you were so inconsiderate.
Okay.
Consideration goes a long way.
Okay.
And like manners and stuff like that.
If I walk out and you walk in and there is piss on the seat, what do you think? Honestly.
You couldn't be bothered putting the seat up and you pee-peed all over it.
Which one is more disgusting to you?
Oof.
Which one are you judging me more for?
Probably, well, the one that puts me out more is the one that gives me more work, is putting the seat down and cleaning it up. But
Okay.
But
I want to take out the pee on it when it's up. really down to basics now. You walk into a bathroom, you see a man walk out. What's worse? He left the seat up?
Oh, no.
Or
Pee on the seat is worse.
Okay.
Way worse.
Okay.
Yeah.
I made the wrong decision.
You did. Was someone waiting outside?
I put the seat back down, and for a second I was like, I should wipe that up. But then I was like, I can't wipe that up. I'm so grossed out by it. And then, so I just washed my hands. Then I awkwardly opened the door with like the paper towel to open the handle of the door, which the lady saw. Yes, there was a lady right there.
Do you say something?
About what?
To her?
About the pee on the thing?
Yeah.
No.
Do you go, there's a little mess in there?
I learned that lesson a long time ago. No one believes you. I've told this. I was on my freshman year river trip, and there's the Gruber gross toilet that everyone uses. I took a dump. I will admit that I took a dump, but it was already overflowing when I got to it, and it was already a mess. And I walked down, and my biology teacher was walking up, and I said, boy, did someone make a mess up there. And every bone in my body felt the like, yeah, sure, buddy. And he said something like, yeah, sure, buddy. No one believes you when you say that. If I said there was some sort of mess there, she's like, you just pissed all over the seat.
Well,
that doesn't work.
And also in this situation, it's like, well, then why didn't you clean it up for me? As somewhere, some chink along the chain is going to have to be the bigger person there. And always, you know how I'm like,
I don't want to clean up other
feel
people's
like
piss.
It's always me who is doing that, or it's always, not.
You make me do tons of gross stuff. If it's like animal related, it's always
Well,
me.
I'm also like, I always feel like I'm the one finding the stray animals. I'm the, certain things like
you won't clean,
are for me.
You won't clean out a pan that meat's been cooked in it.
Yes, because that's the death and destruction of a living, beautiful animal soul.
Okay. So I left the piss there and I walked out and I got caught. But it wasn't my piss.
Good.
It wasn't my piss.
I don't care.
But I don't know if I would change it. And I will tell you this. The whole time I was doing this calculation of what I was going to do, it was all based on the fear of someone being outside there. I am a monster. If I knew no one was going to be waiting outside, I don't think for a second to leave the piss. I don't care. If I have no repercussions.
Very belligerent. Like, what about being considerate?
I'm considerate in other ways. Why do I have to clean up someone else's piss? I don't want to touch it.
Okay.
Then am I going to clog the toilet because I take so much toilet paper to clean the piss because I don't want it seeping through to touch my fingers? Then what predicament am I in?
Okay.
I made the wrong call though, I think.
I always think about we had this happen today. I had an incident with a driver where they were like driving like an entitled little cunt. Pardon my. I save that word for specific uses. I'll use it here.
Yeah.
And then realized that this was a dad at the camp our kids was going to. And he had already made an impression on me negatively.
I want you to say the one thing that you saw because this is infuriating.
Okay. Okay. So day one, this is day two. I'm going to drop them off and I see this guy. He's chatting with one of the counselors. And first of all, let me just...
Which counselor?
The younger one. Huh. More of like a junior counselor.
Like a 14-year-old?
Yeah.
Huh. Because the reason I asked what counselor at all is I only dropped them off, I think, once and picked them up once. But how the drop-off system works and everything... And the counselors, none of them seem that chat-worthy in that moment of time. So I'm like,
they're
who
all
was
busy.
he? Yeah,
this
who
kid's
was he
just
chatting
kind of
with?
hanging around. So
He
anyway,
was chatting with a 14-year-old. Okay.
Yeah.
Any idea what?
Yeah, but I don't want to get into it.
Wow.
It's too revealing. So this guy had. I feel like I'm always just griping about people.
This is great. This is a good gripe.
It's a good gripe.
Fuck this guy.
He's got his kids are going off, whatever. Very sweet kids. Also, I want to say a few things about him. Like, sharp looking in a way that I know he's in entertainment and is probably successful, and he drives a very expensive fancy car. And so like my diagnosis of entitled cunt kind of comes from that also. And, you know, not to say there are lots of very successful people who drive fancy cars who are wonderful, wonderful, kind, amazing, not entitled people. Not the case here. So, but the first thing that happened was I was walking in and he was kind of blocking this small little entrance to the camp. And he was chatting and he like, you know, had his, I guess you don't know. I don't even know. I'm just going to come out and say it.
Yeah.
He had his hand down the back of his shorts and underwear.
It is, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Do you know, like casually kind
move.
of scratching his
What kind of
resting
shorts were they?
I don't, the shorts weren't the standout to me in this moment in time.
Okay, sorry.
Not like basketball shorts. They were like shorts.
But that's what you're getting to. Is it an elastic waistband of any sort, or was it a belt type of waistband?
No, maybe a belt.
So he's jamming his hand down.
No, but there was space.
There was room. So he's wearing not athletic shorts, but just shorts.
I don't think so,
like
but
chinos?
You know what? If we rewound the tape, I could be wrong. I was so
and his
shocked.
hand was on bare ass skin.
Yes. And
appalling. It is absolutely appalling. I'm serious. At a fucking kids camp, I don't care where you are.
Well, yeah.
If I walked in the Cheesecake Factory and the guy in line before at the hostess station had his hand touching bare ass,
wow,
I
yeah.
might leave.
Yeah.
That is so gross. And then he gets into his fancy fucking car.
Yeah. So anyway,
bro,
he had already kind of made an impression on me. But the first thing was the hand down the pants, and I was kind of just like, ugh. But it was so mindless.
And it was ew to you, right? I know you just said that.
Oh, yes.
But you're saying it as if this was a minor infraction compared to what happens later.
I looked back like, what is happening? But he didn't see I almost wanted to be like, do you know that your hand is on your ass? Like,
yeah.
Anyway, but I also wanted to give him a pass because it seemed so mindless that it's like, you know, I've picked my nose out in the world and dealt with it however I will. And, you know, you don't think about things and you do things.
Very generous of you.
So then there was the parking's really tricky around this camp. Sometimes it's been easy for you, apparently.
Oh, yeah.
But I then was waiting to park and he was like loading his kids in the car. It was for pickup. And I was like running. By this point, I'd circled around and I was kind of stressing out because I didn't want to be late to pick up my kids. And he's like, he sees me there. I know he saw me waiting with my blinker on, waiting patiently.
Yeah.
And honestly, take all the time you need. At the beach the other day, we were in the same situation and we asked them, are you leaving? And they were like, yeah, but it's going to be a while. And we waited for like a good 10 minutes while they got out of their wetsuits and stuff. And you were a little less patient. You were a little bit like, okay, guys, but...
Well, it got to be a point that was like, is this for show? Like, they took so long.
Well, no,
but then we realized they were going right to work because he like got in a nice shirt and stuff. It was quite a spectacle.
Put a tie on.
Yeah.
So, but I was fully patient. I'm like, as long as we know what the situation is.
And they were nice about how they told us the situation.
Yes. So I feel like we might be coming across as like real... somethings, but I'm just waiting and I know he saw me and he's like loading up his kids' stuff and they're talking and they're going back on the other side and this side. And I know it takes a long time to get kids in the car and all their stuff and whatever.
You do know that.
But then they all left. They all walked up to get food or I don't know what. And it's like, give me a little nod or something, because then I was back to square one. And in fact, there were cars behind me that had left.
I can't even imagine. Hey, sorry, we're not leaving.
Like a little wave,
we're staying.
Shake your head, anything. So that was kind of infraction number 2.
Okay.
And I want to say, lovely camp. None of the other parents made even an iota of an impression on me. I mean, I couldn't put a face to any of them. Like, you just go in and it's a chaos fest and whatever. So then this guy was driving like an entitled cunt. And I don't even need to go into all of the things he was doing that was wrong. But rest assured, it was not just me. He got honked at by 3 different vehicles in the span of, I don't know,
10
7
seconds?
blocks, like
Wow.
crazy. So, and specifically with me, he was aggressive with not just me, but I definitely gave him a look and we looked at each other and he was aggressive about it and whatever.
Yeah.
So then later, and I was like, oh my God, that's this guy.
Yeah.
And then we had to endure like being at camp with him and watching a thing that the kids did and whatever. And I was tried to be, this is so stupid. This is so dumb. I like wanted to look good.
Well, I'll be honest with you. You told me this earlier in the day, and I wanted to look good, and then I felt like a real fucking dipshit because I was probably wearing the exact same outfit as the guy.
I know.
It made me not like
No, I'm glad though. I mean,
whatever. But
what
yeah.
do you mean?
Anyways, hey, you looked great at the camp
Okay.
thing.
I don't
and
know
you
why.
What? I
I'm
think you know what?
Huh?
I think you're the hottest mom at the camp.
That is so nice. There's no world that's true. But
No. I'm.
I mean, it's not a competition. We all have other things.
Yeah,
to
but I like
offer.
to size up all women in all public spaces.
I know you do.
Do you know what I mean?
How many of us do you think would leave pee-pee on the seat?
Ooh, too many.
But no,
too
this
many.
brings me back to you thinking, oh, I can't possibly deal with that pee.
Okay.
It's not my obligation,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. And then walking out, for all you know, that woman is like me. Like, I don't know that guy, I think that guy did know it was me from the driving incident, but I'm sure he doesn't know that I have all of this other stuff in his file.
Let me.
But like, for all you know, Teddy's going to make best friends with someone next year and the mom's going to be like, oh, Isabel, let's have Teddy. Da, da, da. And then you walk in and she's like, are you fucking kidding me?
And are you saying that?
It kind of goes back to recently in a recent episode, we were talking about doing good deeds. And if you do them, like, and there are bennies included, it doesn't discount the good deed. And maybe this makes me look bad, but if I clean up a bathroom, part of it is consideration. And then part of it is just character protection.
Okay. I like that.
Okay.
Are you saying all of the like? I do. The character protection means a lot to me.
Okay.
If we do run into this guy, are you saying all of this in the sense of like, but you know what, this guy might be a good guy, or if we then later figure out that we do have a play date, like I know you're going to go in with some preconceived notions,
No, you know what?
you'll let them slip away pretty easily.
Yes, I will. I think. Well, I didn't even tell you this, but like as soon as the thing was done today,
He smiled at you. And
no,
that was
he's
it?
the first person I ran into. Like he made a beeline for the hallway the other way, and I made a beeline for the hallway the other way.
Yeah.
And I think both of us were trying to avoid the other, but instead actually had like a near collision.
Well, maybe the world is trying to put you guys together in some way.
No, I don't think so. I would never think highly of him, but also I have to keep in mind, we have friends who might be asshole drivers and we think highly of them and maybe they put their hands down their pants and like, I don't know. This doesn't make this guy a bad guy.
Right.
But overall, and then of course, like yesterday, when was it? I went for a walk and I was listening to Eckhart Tolle.
Okay.
And something, I've been listening to him for years.
Yeah.
And something kind of clicked for me.
Yeah.
In a new way.
Okay.
And it really is like underneath all of our personalities and our thoughts and feelings, they are what Eckhart calls our form identities.
Okay.
Okay. So like the thing that most of us consider ourselves, like, oh, I'm Elizabeth. I have this type of body. I do this for work. I'm a mom and I'm a wife. I have this type of personality.
Right.
That's all part of our form identity.
Okay.
Which is a part of our identity and it should be honored. But our true deep identity is our awareness of our existence. And
has nothing to do with pissing on seats,
It has
putting our
nothing to
hands
do.
wherever we want to put our hands, driving however the fuck we want to drive. So are you basically saying we can do, honestly, that stuff doesn't matter. Do you, because the real you just needs to...
Well, I don't think it's a ticket to be an asshole, carte blanche or anything.
Okay.
But I do think it makes me have much more empathy for people. And, Eckhart brought up, like, in the Bible, there are, I won't even get into all of it, but...
Please don't.
Okay. So, but that kind of clicked and in a way made me feel not even having compassion for this guy, but just being like, we are all the same in that we are the universe experiencing itself through our form identities.
See, where my head with all this goes is like, what kind of revenge, sneaky revenge could we get? And I'm like, okay, if we could find that car and where that person lives, it's like, the obvious stuff would be like slash tires. That's not us. We don't do that.
Oh, God, no.
We would never do that.
We
would do something more sneaky, like, this is where my head goes, because did you notice that condom when we were walking to lunch on the ground? Mm-mm. There was a condom in its wrapper, so clean.
Oh, okay.
But, like, my mind goes, okay, we find where his car is, and then, like, every night
I know where he lives.
we put a condom on, like, the curb by his car. And it's like a specific brand, weird condom that's always there.
That's funny.
That's another weird thing is because, like, you don't want to pick up the condom on the curb.
You should make a used condom every night and put it on.
That gets a little gross, Elizabeth.
Well, listen.
That's taking it too far.
I feel like I even
That's so gross.
I don't know if you believe, I don't fully believe in karma like this, but I took the kids to gymnastics the other day and the person parked next to me in a way where I almost worried that I got stuck trying to get into the car.
Yeah.
And I should have just gone around to the other side, but also that's like with my back, it's tricky getting into my side seat of the, but
you would have climbed over the middle console.
They
what you're talking about?
so close. I had like 2 inches, it seemed like.
Come on, people.
Just so rude and, again, inconsiderate. I know.
Meanwhile, hold on. The real version of this story is like the camera zooms out and you see the parking lines and you've parked into their lane.
I wasn't.
Okay.
So I was so careful, though, even though I had to jimmy my body in not to fuck up their car, but even though I kind of wanted to. But then the next day, someone did that to us. Someone did that to my car. I haven't told you this yet. I have like scratch and ding on my car from someone opening the door into my car. And I was like, is this just because I just had the thought for a second, like I could do this?
No.
Karma?
No. That's not how it works. The karma is if you dinged the person's car.
Then it comes back to me.
Yeah, not for having the thought.
Okay, so...
That's some like weird Catholic shit on your mind.
Well,
now.
Listen.
You can have those thoughts all you want.
Okay.
We can fantasize about leaving used condoms at this guy's house.
Right. Okay.
Not used, in wrappers.
I don't really know where he lives, by the way. I know the general area. But, so I don't want it to be, I'm now getting very nervous. I actually don't.
You know what's so great about this episode, though, is that we do have these paranoid moments. Listeners that heard me talking about my VIP status at a restaurant know how paranoid I was, and they're probably like, what are you talking about? Well, boy, do we have a crazy story for you soon.
Yeah.
Of just like what can happen
What can happen
on this podcast.
Speaking of that, I think hopefully she won't mind if I share this, but St. Monica texted us, like, I got to know what this restaurant is, blah, blah, blah. We told her. This text thread made me laugh so hard. But I told her where it was, and I was like, go in and tell them Auntie sent you. And then you immediately replied. Hey.
No, not immediately. I let you guys keep chatting for a minute because I was sweating about how to jump into the conversation without... I wanted to be funny, but I had a legitimate worry about anyone using my name at this place.
Yes, and you said, well, thank you for just blowing the joke.
Sorry.
You said, like, hey, I really respect and admire both of you, but please, under no circumstances, ever use my name.
Yes.
I cannot forfeit my VIP status there. Under no conditions can I do that. So anyway, I've had a few crazy days, speaking of like the Eckhart Tolle stuff, and honestly, I feel like it's put me in a better place. Everyone knows I was like the last time I got into imaginary beef with someone, which was a driver like a couple months ago when I was walking to school who like tried to hit me. I carried it with me for a while, and it was really.
Yeah, you seem to be shedding this quicker. It's good.
I am, and I think I've had a very grounding few days in terms of like universe stuff. Can we get into this? We should.
Real quick, one gross thing that you do.
Okay, go
and
for
then,
it.
because really, you are gonna maybe start crying.
I will for sure.
And it's also getting hot in here. Are we gonna look like just sweaty, crazy people on this episode?
Yeah.
It's okay.
Okay.
All right. I've caught this twice in the last like week. Mm-hmm. The first time I think is the better example, and I think we were on our bed, and there was like a little brown something that, let's just say, could have been a cat turd. Maybe, is that what we were thinking? Like maybe it could have been. And you see.
By the way, we're very clean. I feel like
cat turds aren't popping around.
No, our cat is very clean, but you know, it was a tiny little brown looking like pebble thing.
Yes, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think you grabbed it, and when you grabbed it, you were like, ew. And then immediately after the ew, you jam your nose up to the thing.
Jam my nose.
No, that's
the motion you just did is not jamming your nose.
You go like really. You lean into it really fast to smell it to see if it actually is an ew thing.
I used my arm and my hand and brought it up to my nose to smell it.
But there was nothing tentative about it. Like if I was like, oh, one, I probably would never. I would never smell it, and if so, it would look like this, like.
Yeah.
Like, right?
Well, that's the difference between us.
You just throw it right so close to your nose. And then it happened again today. There was like a little stain or something on the duvet cover. And you're like, oh, gross. What is that? No. Grab duvet cover and throw it all over your face to smell it. Like, it's so gnarly.
First of all, my reactions are not the way those are the reactions you have. Your reactions are so huge for everything. If you stub your toe, we think that the house has fallen down on you.
Okay.
If you find something that you find upsetting, it is this huge. I'm just like, ew. I'm not going, ah! And then I don't have this fear of poop the way you do. Like, you know, back with our kids being little, you were and are a great dad, and you will get in the trenches. But it's always like wiping our kids' butts was like, with like, you would wear a hazmat suit if you could. And the face on you, luckily they couldn't see it, but it's like you're so disgusted.
I think you're exaggerating.
No, I am not. And I don't mind, you know, I know that I can wash shit off my hands and stuff.
Why do you need to smell it that close to your nose?
Because,
if it is indeed shit,
because
you don't need to hold it to a millimeter from your nose.
Yes, you do. How else am I going to identify it? And
it would be shit.
If there's
you'd smell it.
Andy, here's the other thing. You don't have to deal with this stuff. If it is indeed shit, guess who's dealing with the cat then? Because I need to know. You would just go throw it away and carry on with your life and not know if it's shit or not. I need to know if it is, because then it's like, well, is there more? Is there poop caked to our cat's butt? Like, I'm going to have to deal with this because God knows you're not.
I'm the only one that deals with the cat litter box.
That's not true.
You better pay some respect about the cat litter box right now.
You do.
What? Okay. How often do you clean the cat litter box? You've never have.
Yes, that's true. I've never done meaning I've never fully removed the litter, done a clean out, put a new litter, that sort of thing. Yes, that's your job.
We use the kind that has like a little pee pad in it.
Yeah.
When have you ever changed the pee pad?
No.
Okay. So what you're saying that has maybe happened a few times is if you picked up the
poop. A few times. Yeah, I'd say the poop scoop part of it. Now, our cat doesn't usually poop in the litter box, so people are like, what? we have a perfect cat, and she poops outside the majority of the time before people freak out. She is 13 and a half, and we adopted her when she was 3 and had come from the streets, had had a litter of kittens. And when we tried to make her an indoor cat, hang on, I have to do this.
I know you feel like you have to, and it's always funny because you do it to people all the time when they see that like if someone comes over and sees our cat get outside, they freak out.
Listen,
which I get it.
I because I'm an animal person, and similarly, I guess I'm very judgmental, but I would think this, like, you're being not a good cat owner, but in our case, she became so depressed, and the vet was like, look, she's lived outside mostly. She needs to have outside time. And honestly, she's like the happiest cat ever. She's 13 and a half, but like so young at heart. And most indoor cats only live to like 6 or 7, apparently. And so we're doing just fine.
I would fact check that number. But
yeah,
okay.
Go fact check that. So anyway, so there's not much poop to scoop. But yes, I will give you do the vast majority of litter box care. I'd say 85%, 90% range.
It just doesn't make sense how quick and how close you smell it. It's just weird.
Okay.
You have no fear of the
think
smell
it's a
after
mom
you
instinct.
already
I don't mind.
say it's gross.
I'm like...
But it's stuff that grosses you out.
Yeah,
you are like, oh, gross. Let me smell how gross this is.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, let's carry on to how magical my few days have been. So I had this insane thing happen that felt very grounding to me in this time of feeling a little chaotic.
Yeah.
And like I cannot believe this happened. It's related to this podcast. The last few weeks we've been talking about the hummingbird and Brownie.
Brownie the hummingbird.
Brownie the hummingbird, and how her eggs met a very sad demise, and it was devastating.
A crow attacked the hummingbird eggs in our yard, and that was it for Brownie's eggs.
That was it. So we got a lot of messages from people. I wish I had realized, a lot of messages saying that like, they had experiences like that. Someone sent us a YouTube video they had made that was, tragic, but also sad the way they made it. This very dramatic YouTube video of a duck laying its eggs, and some of the ducklings made it, and then a fox came in. It's all filmed. Oh. But what was crazy was, so we're getting a lot of such comments. And then I get a message from a woman named Gina, a photographer, that blew my mind. And I'm looking at it again, I'm going to start crying. Okay. I was listening to the most recent episode about Brownie this morning while on a walk, and Andy said maybe this is a sign she'll have more babies since they usually mate 2 to 3 times a year. I was so sad, but then I rounded a corner as he said that and looked up and saw a hummingbird right in front of me just hovering. And she sent a video and she sent a picture. And then she said, I believe in signs, so I know you'll have a new Brownie live stream one day soon. Now, this is all like, wow, that's...
cool.
A cool coincidence for this listener that there's a hummingbird in front of her. But what she doesn't realize is that the video and the picture she sent is of a very distinctive, beautiful house. And it's the next door neighbor to my parents' house. Not in St. Louis. My parents had moved out to Pasadena, and actually like a tiny little unheard of section of Pasadena. And the house next to them was like a distinctive historical home. And when I saw it, it took my breath away. And of course, I came into you sobbing.
Yeah.
I think you were worried something terrible.
I was very worried, yeah.
Had happened. But there have been a few times in my life that this has happened, and one of the times is, if people don't know the story, it's been told probably 75 times over the course of this podcast, but the night I bumped into you in New York City and we spent the whole night together, and you were my childhood crush, and this song that was very relevant to me because it was the song that was playing nonstop in my head the night my mom died, was playing in the cab when I got into the cab to go home that next morning. And it felt very much like a sign from my mom. And I mean, things have played out in a way that feels, no, had we broken up 7 months later, it would be different. But
Sure.
you're my like North Star in life. And so that felt so significant. Another time, which I've told this story on my other podcast, The One Sure Thing, I think in episode 3 with hospice nurse Julie, which was I saw these 2 wild turkeys when I was visiting St. Louis. And that one could really be seen as much more of a coincidence. But to me, it just like, I immediately started weeping. It's more like this physical reaction I have.
Because it reminded you, you thought it was a sign from your parents.
Yes, because my dad called me and my sister turkeys. It was at the church that their funeral services were, there was more to it. It wasn't just I saw.
Yeah. I saw a turkey, right.
This feels fucking crazy. Gina, let me get her name because her photography is very cool. I've checked it out. And if anyone is in LA, they should. Gina Pecho, Gina Pecho. I said to her, I'm freaking out. Is this on the street that it's on? And she did like shocked eyes emoji. Yes, it's a very specific spot that no one knows of. I'm assuming you're familiar. And I told her so in her video, it like pans over. You see the trees from my parents' house yard. This is the house my mom died in.
Wow.
And it felt so much like a hug from my parents, and to just be like, everything's okay. You're on the right track. This felt so grounding to me, and just kind of, and so I called my sister. I'm crying, and she puts up with so much. She doesn't share my same like woo-woo bullshit.
Yeah.
But she, to her credit, she was like, that is truly crazy. What are the odds that a listener of ours, so that Gina lives in this area and walks by this house and then even says, the house that my parents' house, she's admired and it's a beautiful home and like she's lived there for a few years. And so my sister was like, my sister, this is very hard to do, but she was like, my only thing, and she was laughing at herself saying this, is if it is mom and dad making this happen, why didn't they put it in front of their house?
Oh, to me, though, the thing is, what's so wild about it is that to me, the way the video looks, the bird is potentially in your yard. Like, that's how I kind of interpret it.
I mean, I think
maybe, do you know what I mean? Because
the bird was in front of our house.
Right, you see the neighbor's house. So I was always like, wow, that means the bird's closer to your folks' house.
Well, no, it really is in front of the neighbor's house, but I'm also like, maybe the bird started in front of their house.
Sure.
But also, I will say, and this is why, the universe is so many steps ahead of us. I had this thought after I got off the phone with Anna Marie, was if it had been in front of our parents' house, I would have immediately dismissed this as some like creep who figured out that my parents lived there.
Whoa.
And
that's such a good point.
And like even could have photoshopped, I don't know. Like I would have immediately been creeped out instead of like, oh my gosh, so moved. And the other thing is the house that it's in front of. I almost feel like I recognize that more from the street than my parents' house because it's so distinctive.
Yeah.
I'm going to post this video on our Patreon in case people want to see it. I'm not going to post like the address or anything because that feels personal. And I'm putting it on Patreon because we have a little bit more control over, people seeing it. So
I mean, to me, it's like, let's back up. The coincidence that this woman is just listening to Gina's hearing our podcast and sees the hummingbird. That's a weird coincidence. A lot of us have had those weird podcast moments. They're fun. They're great.
Yes.
Now, but that is a coincidence. Then too, that we have an awesome listener, Gina, that's like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to message them about this, right?
She's been listening to us from like 10 years ago.
Oh, wow.
This is the first time. I mean, she truly wrote, today I was like, what the hell? I'm just going to tell them about this crazy hummingbird sighting.
Right. Which is, I think, I love that part of it too, because I think we can all relate to it, where it's like we might have these weird experiences listening to a podcast and whatnot, but are like, I'm not gonna message about, like, do you know what I mean? Just being
Yes.
like, I don't know. But she decides to, which is fucking awesome. Then for it to be
In front of this house.
that really is
It
bonkers.
really just
I
makes...
really think the chances of that are, I mean, so it's so improbable to me
Yeah.
that if you line up all those things, it's really fucking cool.
And it also is in this, like, I feel like when these things happen, it is in these, like, roundabout kind of, there's a hint of, like, playfulness to it. And this feels so right, the way these things come together, like the layers of nuance I had to go through. Like, we had Brownie, we're talking about Brownie. And also, Gina, by the way, didn't, she was like, I thought you grew up in St. Louis. She didn't,
Yeah.
I just want to, for anyone out there going, well, I don't
No,
know.
yeah, this was also, yeah, like your parents lived there a year or two or something,
A couple
right?
years.
Yeah,
It was their dream house. The way these things unfold makes me feel like doing this podcast is what we should keep doing. Like, we're doing the right thing, we're doing what we love. Felt very grounding to me, and it felt like a little high from them.
It's so bonkers to me.
Oh God, I'm sweating. I'm crying.
Yeah. And just to loop back real quick to your sister, so what was her final
She
verdict
knew
on
I
all
wanted
of it?
her to get. She's like, okay, I will get on board with this one.
Yeah.
I mean, this one was a tough one to pull apart, I think. She just doesn't think like that. It's a different, I mean, she's
But-
like many people listening are like, yeah, because you're just crazy.
But well, here's the thing. It's like let's hypothetically say you are just crazy, right? You still had this instant beautiful emotional reaction to it.
Yes.
Which no matter what is like powerful and a great thing to have had.
Yeah.
So that's a gift no matter what, no matter where it's birthed from or whatever, right?
Uh-huh.
And that plus the fact of take any meaning away from it all, the chances of that happening.
The chances. I mean,
So
are there
it's
any like statistics people out there?
Probability people, yeah.
Yeah, who could, I mean, you'd have to have more information, but like, I would love to know what the odds
But it's
are.
like, but to me, it's like no matter what, it's so wild and awesome and cool. Like, had you not had that reaction, we would still be talking about it right now and being like, what the fuck? But you genuinely had this instant emotional connection to it, which just raises the
I
stakes in
did.
this awesome way. And it's like, why ignore that?
Yes.
Right?
Totally.
But
I
like,
agree.
it's so cool. All of it's bonkers.
When I saw the video,
It
you
must have
know,
been so surreal.
I did have this reaction, and then I was like, okay, kind of, I did a Google image or a Google street search because I was like, that is that place, right? Like, I needed to double check my own memory.
Well, that is the other interesting thing. Granted, you were in a state of heightened emotions when you were showing and explaining this to me at a mile a minute, and I'm looking at the video. I was kind of like, whoa, how did you know? Like, it's a specific looking house, but it is a house. Like, it's not, and also the video doesn't even show the entire house. You just see, like, it is awesome that it's also crazy that you recognized it.
Well,
that
it's
quickly.
a unique house than that. Like, it's a big, I think it's a historical home. Is, by the way, like, my parents' house is a much more modest house next to it. But
yeah,
like,
you even saying that, I think is almost like you're discrediting how crazy it was that you recognize it. I really, truly think that. Like, because to me, when I saw the video, it's like you're watching Bird because she was filming this bird.
Yes.
Then she's tracking the bird as it flies. So then you start seeing part of this house in the background.
yeah.
And it's wild. Because there's other circumstances where if someone sent you a video of the hummingbird, you're watching the hummingbird.
Yes.
She's tracking the hummingbird. You wouldn't have even noticed.
I mean, I feel
the
like
house.
my parents sent me this video. Like that's how crazy it's
Yeah.
like. I feel like they were like, "Here's a hummingbird."
Yeah.
It's so crazy. Yeah, I did. I instantly recognized it, which I am actually kind of surprised of too. It's been 20 years.
Like, think if it would, like, it could be.
Would you remember the house next to your St. Louis house?
Not in that video. Where
Right.
someone sent me, look at this tiny bird that flaps its wings at a gazillion. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I would have never noticed it. Yeah. It's wild. It's wild. It's
It is
really
wild.
fucking, it's crazy.
Because for me, that instantly felt like, hey, you know, and I don't know why I feel like that sort of thing is a message of everything's going to be okay. But
Yeah,
like in the
yeah.
grand scheme of thing, of course, everything is going to be okay because we're all going to die and everything's okay. And it more so than that, it felt like a message from them, like, we're okay and we're still with you,
Yeah.
which I'm going to cry again. You know, I know deep down it's true, but it's nice having validation of that.
Yeah.
Am I like really sweaty?
No.
Do I look really?
I'm laughing at, like, I'm laughing at the skeptics that are hearing that, like, you're saying it's good to have that validation. I'm laughing at the skeptic that's like, what is she talking about, the validation? But it's like, no, you did get the valid. This is
I
crazy.
did.
You
I
got
mean,
a crazy fucking
like it or not,
universe
that's-
hummingbird video.
Yes, that's how it felt.
Yeah,
And thank you
exactly.
so much to Gina. If you want to see her her photo Instagram is Gina_Nicole_photo. You can check out her amazing work. But I felt like this was them saying everything's okay. Keep doing what you're doing. Focus on, you know, enjoying this life. Kind of the hummingbird of it all feels very kind of playful and positive. Like,
Yeah.
and I wanted to ask you, when you saw this and put it all together and how crazy it is,
Yeah.
like, how does that land for you emotionally? Kind of what's the takeaway, or is there
Not as intense of a reaction for me, but feels. I subscribe to all this kind of stuff, so I'm a believer for sure. I feel kind of emotional right this second. It just felt so magical. That's how
Yeah.
I would describe it,
Feels
in a
magical.
way that, like, comforting, magical. Just like, what are the fucking chances?
I know.
There has to be some reasoning in the madness of all of this, right? That we don't know the answers to any of it. No, everyone wishes they knew. I will say this: the only downside of this story, piggybacking off of last week's episode of the whole simulation of it all, we are definitely in your simulation if it is a simulation.
I do think of it as we are all collectively in someone else's simulation. It's not mine or yours.
Oh, well, just piggybacking off last week, if it is mine or yours,
It's mine.
all of a sudden I feel like I'm, a character in yours.
Well,
Where
yeah, and you
for a
don't-
minute I thought this might have been my show for a second, but
How do you feel about
No.
that? How am I doing?
it's kind of basic, some of it. Do you know what I mean? But with some cool details. Some pretty, the guy's hand on his ass today. Crazy hummingbird videos.
Yeah.
Smelling shit.
Okay, well, thank you everyone for listening. If you want to check out the video, patreon.com/nobody's listening right. And we will be back next week.
All right.
Good night.
Night.